Welcome back. Wanted to do a video breakdown of the highlights from the national championship game, Cornell's 13-10 victory over Maryland. It's kind of been eating at me a little bit. Obviously, CJ Kirst had six, but wanted to kind of see how and look at some of the schematic decisions that were made throughout the game, and overall just kind of be a fan and rewatch the highlights and talk through them in sort of a different light. Really good game. Both goalies played well. I think they played better than the stats show, but both goalies played well enough. But both offenses actually shot the ball better. With McNaney being under 50 and Nust being over 50, but both had double-digit save days and some of eye-popping variety, which was really cool to see at a top level. But we're gonna jump into this. Grab the highlights. They're in chronological order, so we're going to kind of break it down as the game goes on. And I think we're going to see some themes which I found really interesting. So as we jump into it, opening face. Okay, both face-off guys battled. All right, Maryland didn't have a great year at the X compared to what they're used to, but both guys really got after it. Cascadin had the better day. Here we are, one of the first possessions. Okay, starting off, you're going to see we've got Schaller on Kirst. And I'm going to point this out because as the game goes on and we see Kirst highlights, I want you to see who's guarding Kirst. Okay, because early on he was a little quiet. So as Kirst is going at Schaller here, they're playing a classic pairs. You've got Kirst and Long on the lefty pair here, which is interesting because Long's a right-handed player, but he finds a way to makes it work. Okay, then you got your kind of attack pair down by the pipes, and then you've got your pair on the backside. All right. Maryland made the decision. We're going to see how they kind of play pick game throughout. But as they go at this first one, okay, Schaller gets caught on this up pick, which I think is really tough to defend. Because if you go under, you give him free hands to flip his hips and shoot a left-handed shot. If you go over, you give him what I call the scary area or the bow tie of offense. And that is called the scary area for a reason, and you're going to see a couple goals, and I'm going to mention this a couple times throughout these highlights. Once an offensive player gets in here, it's almost game over because the only way a defense can defend is push him in the back or hopefully land a trail check. So this little up pick, deadly. Okay, deadly. Anybody who plays in the pairs action, if you can execute this up pick, or if you're the Dodger, if you can set them up for this up pick, you're putting yourself in a really good spot. So he gets picked off in this up pick. Maryland was trying to hedge and get a chunk all game and get back. Okay, that was their game plan. You're going to see it a couple times. They hedge/chunk and they allow Schaller to get back. But now this defender who was on Long, his job is to get back to Long. They weren't going to send this recovery into the crease and rotate out to cover this, what I call money ball, which, again, a decision that Maryland made. Okay, so as Kirst draws two here, he realizes, hey, I can get this ball to Mikey Long. We got action. Because either 54 is going to have to come out and play him on a short approach, or they're going to have to rotate over, and then we got him spinning like a top, and that's what Cornell does so well with moving the rock. So he throws this ball back. Maryland sticks to the chunk and get back. Now Mikey Long's initiating a dodge at 10 yards on a short stick who's sprinting out at him. And he makes a good move. But again, goalies played well. McNaney makes an even better save. So if we play that from the top, sets up the up pick. Bang, chunk. We're slow to get back. Good move. Michael Long and McNaney's just up to the task. Okay, so Schaller on Kirst. No goal. Decent action. Now we're hung. Okay. Staub, and this is the other action on the other end. Staub on Spanos. That was the matchup on the other end. That was the premier look. Okay. We've got him hung here, and I'm a huge believer. Again, inside roll means scary area. Bang. The only thing Staub can do here to defend is either shove him in the back and draw a penalty or land the trail check. All right. He does neither. Nusty bails him out. Awesome save. Okay, in tight, goalies, attackmen, especially elite ones, love near post. Nusty lives by rule number one right here, drives those hands across, okay, and takes away the near post. The other thing that Wyatt does a really good job of here, in tight here, it is very, very difficult for that attackman to drive this ball into the low corner from his ear. So if he's releasing that thing from high, we have to take away the top half of the net. In tight goalies, take away the top half of the net. Anything low angle, take away that near post. Nusty does both. He gets the save. Now, Staub, defensively, now again, I don't know what they're being coached to do, and obviously Cornell played pretty good defense all year, and Jordan Stevens is a good mind, all right? But if I'm in this position, I'm coaching no inside roll here because you've got no help to the inside roll. None. Yeah, you could get a coma slide set up, but it's too tight on the hung to get that coma slide. In my head, I'm driving this attackman Spanos up and wide to the best of my ability, and if I can't get him wide, at least up, pushes him into traffic where we can get a show down the side a little bit here, all right, and he gets to shoot this ball running away from the goal with less power. Good move by Spanos, though, to drive him back and inside roll. Here, Cornell actually went to this a couple of times, just sort of a top center dodge, let their guys pick either way. Cornell decides to show and no-go, and actually show and no-go again. And my man's right here just absolutely hammers this corner left-handed. This is impressive. Show, no-go, and you can actually see this is subtle, okay, but effective. As a dodger, he takes his hands into a passing position and actually throws a ball fake right there, which freezes the slide guy because now he's reading intentions. He's like, okay, he's passing it. I can get back to my matchup. I don't need to slide to create a double team to create numbers on the backside. I can just show he's passing it. We're good. I'm back. But that little ball fake pushes him back, allows him to get down the side deeper into his dodge, and he laser beams this one. Unbelievable shot block here. Okay. We got the Cornell defense collapsed off of a GB. Nobody really fights for it. Collapsed off of a GB. Keegan here gets a shot, but an unbelievable shot block. Shout him out right here. All right. Fearless. It's awesome. All right, but Cornell just hustles, makes a play. Garbage goals still count as one. They don't all have to be pretty. And this was the action I was actually going to show. Cornell's gone to this stack a few times. All right, old school guys will know they call this the Salisbury stack. Salisbury used to do this all the time. It's technically, if you count from behind, it's like a 1-3-2, or if you count from up top, a 2-3-1. But instead of the 2 and the crease up top with the attack triangle, they just put all three midfielders stacked, and these two guys get to the spots that would have put them into, that they would have gotten to out of the classic 2-3-1 pop or fade. So they get to this stack action, and again, Maryland wants to trust their on-ball defense. You can actually see this defender's looking for somebody else to slide. Technically, the textbook says slide from the lowest man in the stack. All right, slide from the lowest man in the stack, and they actually get a clear through right here that they could go from, but this one's almost too low to go from because of Cornell's spacing. So not in a position to go. They're thinking, all right, on ball, we're good. Nobody goes, and they get a great look, but McNaney steals it. This action's actually really cool from Cornell. Okay, really cool from Cornell. You're looking at a 2-2-2 here. Okay, we got 2-2-2, big little. Again, room to get through for this defender. All right, Michael Long's driving his strong hand, and we've got two crease guys, and then we got two high guys above them in the 2-2-2 big little action that was made popular again by Sean Kerwin at UVA. They did a great job when they went on their national championship runs. All right, but what you're going to see here, we don't draw a slide because Maryland's trusting their matchups all over the place. All right, so balls or backside crease, Kirst just gets out of the way. Ball side crease, which looks like Goldstein, also clears space. Okay, also clear space, which leaves room for the high top level midfielder to cut ball side, which again, really cool action because technically, um, if we were to slide to this, we'd probably go from the ball side, or we could even go from down the side here. Either one, this defender has other responsibilities as a two, whether that's to rotate into it or if they go adjacent, which I would call trap. If they go trap here, this guy's probably going next, so he's got to be down and in as a two, either to cover Kirst or to cover this second crease. All right. If they go from the crease, he's got to go. All right. The two is probably coming across here. And then five, this defender has got to cover up the other crease. Now, why does that put us in a pickle? Because now his dude is cutting ball side. And as a two, that's not really what he's thinking that's going to happen. Now, in this case, they don't slide, but because the action draws him left-handed cutter to a right-handed dodger, all he needs to get his body between the defender and his stick, and he's technically open if you work hard enough on your skills. And with a short stick, you don't have as much area that you can cover. So I love this action because it puts this defender in a really tough spot. Am I a two? Are we not sliding? And now I just got to keep up with this cutter. Also, on ball, how do we defend this better? Ball pressure. You can cover up all of your off-ball mistakes with ball pressure. Michael Long's able just to jog into this thing and survey. Puts it right where it needs to go, in stride, find it. This is just an unbelievable shot by Daniel Kelly. Great play by A.J. Larkin. Unbelievable shot by Daniel Kelly. Stare it down, off hip. This next view puts a really good perspective on it. He just finds his off hip right off the pipe. Not much Nusty can do here as a left-handed goalie. Bang. All right, we got Schaller Kirst. Okay, now this one's great. So you got Goldstein in the corner. Okay, you got Goldstein in the corner here. You're going to see head turned away, not thinking about sliding. Schaller on Kirst, probably not thinking about sliding. All right, because they're both inside. You can see this defender come in out of the picture. So again, Maryland doesn't want to go from in here. You can see maybe they're thinking about this adjacent slide down the side, and we'll see it again later. But adjacent slide down the side is potentially what I would guess is their scheme, what they're thinking they want to do. Okay. Now, where this becomes a problem, on ball. On ball, this defender gets beat to the scary area, and when you get beat underneath to the scary area, your adjacent slide is ineffective. It can't be effective, right? There's no way I can get to this scary area as the adjacent. If the defender on ball were able to drive Goldstein up the side with his body positioning and not overplay the top side like he does here, Goldstein drives up and into this space, and now your adjacent slide can actually be effective for disrupting Goldstein. Now, you'll see later on it doesn't exactly do that either, but at least you give yourself a chance. And this is why I'm so adamant about keeping dudes out of the scary area with your on-ball defense. It's crazy. Because of the scheme and because of Maryland's game plan, we're not even looking to go from in here, which is the only way that we could have actually supported this ball. So that's why I'm talking about that on-ball defense. It doesn't mean that you don't have to get beat. It means you can't get beat to a certain spot. Goldstein don't care. He pulls the quiver out. Here it is again. You can see he comes late, but because he gets beat underneath, there's no way he can cover this ground. And I mean, the last piece, Schaller can't even think about going because he's on the Toraton winner. Now this one's interesting. Okay, they cut it a little short. Not sure how they got to this. I can't quite recall how they got to this. But here you've got Spanos not on Staub. You can see Staub found out through slide recover, switches himself on the backside here. And Spanos went to work. All right, Spanos went to work. Bang, make my guy fall down. High bouncers will go. All right, but again, not on Staub. Just Cornell ball movement here. Okay, as we get right to this one. Again, pairs action. We can see we're showing off of the mirror, but we showed so hard that this mirror pass puts stress on everybody, right? Puts stress on everybody because it's now we got a late approach. We've got no ball pressure. We had nobody coming to it. We actually didn't even think about rotating to it. Now, it shouldn't have really hurt Maryland whatsoever. If Michael Long was more of an outside shooter, he'd be stepping into 12 and letting this thing fly because of the heavy show down here to 5 yards. All right. Instead, we just get cut off ball, falling asleep. And I got to believe that part of this staring at it, the Rock being like, okay, we got 2 committed. I might have to rotate somewhere. Took his eye off his man for a half a second, and he just cut right to him. And that's just beautiful lacrosse by the offense. And again, he's open because of one hard step against a short stick. He can't cover as much ground as a long pole would be. He gets his body between the defender and the head of his stick. He's open. Just a note for guys that are playing off ball offensively against short sticks. You're able to cut and be open without even drawing a slide. Cornell did it twice. All right, we get Goldstein going again on the corner here, and we actually drive him up the side. We drive him up the side to the correct spot. We got eyes on it, but we're not thinking about going because this is the crease action. Actually, our adjacent right here is probably the one, which starts to show down. But Goldstein, sometimes you tip your cap. Offense is better than defense. We all know that, Uncle Rick Beardsley wants to make defense great again. There's only so much we can do sometimes as far as physicality is concerned. But Goldstein, textbook, question mark. And there's only a few dudes in the country at the college level who can make this shot sidearm to that far post. Now, against the lefty, so he does a really good job getting to a strong hand, ready to put that thing to that far post. But again, it goes back to Maryland's scheme of sliding adjacent. At least they didn't get beat to a spot, and you tip your cap because the kid made a great play. 39 actually played great defense here. Goldstein just made a better play. They hit him with a Superman right here. It's great defense, better offense, and coming out the phone booth, Superman. Oh, he hits it later, I guess. All right, here we are again. Big in the pairs action for Maryland with Spanos on it. Staub off the ball. Again, not guarding Spanos. Not what Cornell wanted. Okay, 88. Getting jammed up on the pick. Again, Spanos does a great job of utilizing this pick as sort of getting upfield, making them jump, and then coming back down, that same up pick action. But again, it's not Staub, who was guarding Spanos for most of the game. Spanos takes advantage. It's these little things that matter when you're playing offense and playing defense. All right, now here's the next, I believe this was the next possession. We got Schaller uncursed with a sweep to a strong hand with a pick. Okay. Again, Maryland wants to, from what I can tell, chunk and get back. All right. So Schaller gets picked off. D-Mitty looks to chunk. Schaller looks to get back, but it's just too much time for the best player in the country this year. Now, what is nice is actually Maryland executes this really well. If you're going to slide to this sweep, the textbook these days says slide from the inside, coming right up the field here. Because if you come adjacent, this is too easy. This is because he's not only going to continue to drift, he's going to step right into this space, and you got a hands-free step down. At least if you slide from the inside, you can help as a 2 from X. All right, now to counteract it, X guy's going to sneak and do the best that he can, but at least you can fill in here. Or as a 2 from the outside guy, you can play his outside shoulder here and be ready to fly out to that shooter, right? That's why we slide from the inside on this pairs actions instead of across the top. But CJ Kurse being the best player in the country, he takes advantage. Now, where this whole thing breaks down is this pick action. One, can't get picked off. What I'm guessing is we weren't communicating well enough when we were guarding the picker. If you're going to chunk, this is too much space. Okay, this is too much space. CJ gets a whole run at you. All right, gets a whole run at you, and we're just not able to catch up. Here it is again. Probably didn't say anything. And he can see he's underneath 42, the picker, which means not only does Schaller have to navigate the pick, he's also got to navigate his teammate. And if your job is to chunk and get back, why be below him? You have to be at least in line with him so Schaller doesn't have to navigate you if he wants to get under. And it puts you a half step closer to what your job is in that chunk. All right, next clip here. Again, we get underneath to the scary area, which is going to draw a ton of attention. Okay, which is going to draw a ton of attention. And this one's really neat to watch from this angle. So, if I can get it all the way back here, we get underneath. We have to slide to it, and we're sliding from the low crease. Can't slide from here, terrible angle. All right, have to slide from the low crease. All right. We end up going from the low crease, and that manipulates this defender on the backside. He's now got to be a 2 down into this low crease, which you'll see he does, right? He gets down as a 2 because now we've got to recover to this. And you can see the shadow right here in this low corner. That's who this dude is supposed to be guarding out here on the corner. But his first job is cover up inside out. Always is. All right, always is. Cover up inside out, live to fight another day. All right, he does that. The recovery comes, and then he can bounce out, but this is way too much space. Now, what this offensive player does a really good job of is stepping in and being dangerous, right? Not only does he step in towards the goal, he also increases his angle and understands all he's got to do is beat this guy on approach. Bang, let it go. Beautiful lacrosse, and again, why the scary area is so dangerous. Urksa drives up, inside roll, okay? Again, this is why I'm a huge believer of no inside roll. 43 gets over pursuant to the top side, in my opinion. All right, in my opinion. Gives up the inside roll. We have to slide, and now we're scramble mode. My man's here's got to be the 2 slide. Can't be 2s on the ball side here. He gets down, recovery, out, bang it. This one right here, Nussey's just got to hang on to that. There's no reason to give that up, but another courageous shot block to save a goal. Great job. All right, now we're into the second half. All right, Cornell goes on a little bit of a run here. Cursed on Schaller. And guess what? Up pick. Cornell was doing this all year, okay? They're so good at it, but you have to practice it. They do a great job with the up pick. Schaller has to go over it, which allow Kirsty to get some leverage. All right. Short stick doesn't think he has to go, but right now, straight line to the scary area, and this is no bueno for Schaller. The only thing he can do now is push him in the back, draw flag, or trail check. Can't do either. That's why this up pick is so dangerous on a team that doesn't want to switch, because you're immediately in a trail position with a straight line to that scary area. I believe that's the only goal, if you want to call it one-on-one, that Kirst gets with Schaller. The only one, and he needed a pick and a well-executed up pick to get it. You can see Schaller's pissed. Something about 54 showing, right? The chunk and get back, because he never chunks at all. Never gets anything on him. Oof, this is awesome. You got Maryland. Okay. Just an easy alley dodge. All right. You can see we're sliding off of 44. Okay, we're sliding off of 44, but 13 right here has got to be a 2 slide. All right, because we showed pretty heavy, which is as good as a slide. And now as this ball gets through X, we've now got a late approach to one of their attackmen who is shifty as all get out as this defender's sprinting out at him. That's too easy, but Nusty, nothing near post, baby. Seals that pipe, takes it in the chest, gets him out, bails him out. All right, but again, to see why this is so important, you can see they show defenders pointing them, get out, get out, get out. 13 even hesitates for another second, but this show was enough to get that action that Maryland wanted off a ball movement. All right, now we got Kirst, not on Schaller. Not on Schaller. Not good for Maryland. Okay, not what they wanted. All right, Cornell does a great job spacing it. They've got an X outlet for when Kirst goes underneath, but Kirsty sees it's not Schaller. Get in, hands free, let it go. Now, great, left-handed player. This is why you work on your offhand enough to be dangerous. This doesn't need to be a full-fledged shot, and it's not. Just flicks it from his ear. But watch his angle here. It's drive into the defender, get into his body, bounce away to free your hands. This is really special stuff. Into him, bounce away, finish it. And again, yes, he's a strong left-handed player, and I think in today's game you don't need to be super two-handed, but you've got to have enough of an offhand, one, to either set up your strong hand or do stuff like this. Just flick it from your ear, all right? And now Kirk's the best player in the country, so you can put it right where it is, but be able to flick it from your ear to keep the defense honest. Here we are again, Spanos, Staub not on him, off a ball movement. Yeah, probably gets away with a ward here for sure. Great off ball action. You can see, okay, you can see right here. We got our hot guy guarding this dude right here. Hot guy, dodge happens. It's very, very difficult to change your responsibilities in a slide package when there's an active dodger. So Cornell has to hold this here as their hot guy because he's actively dodging. Now they're going to have Staub split 2. Should have probably had a little bit more help up, but it's a short stick here, so that's hard. Probably should have had a little bit more of a ball side heavy from our low guy in the pair here, all right, to help him out. But because they slid off the crease, and this action is so nice because he comes back behind the ball carrier, all the attention is going to this side of the field. All right, great action, great money ball here by Spanos. Again, stepping away to free his hands. Now, yes, he gets away with a little bit of a ward, but you can see he gains space to his right so that he can get his hands free and throw that feed. But that action's really nice. You get slid from, come behind the ball because that's where the sweep came. It's no different than if he went down the alley and we mirrored behind him. Really hard for a defense to deal with. And I'll say this too. Practice, guy. If you're a young player watching this, practice this step away to throw back. It's not easy. Easy passes, throw forward. You have to practice this ability to throw the ball against the grain. And that can be with a step back and throw it, or it can be with a quick, what Coach Salippo at Boston University calls a QB turn, a quick turn to your outside hand to get that thing off. Just some good ball movement all around by Cornell. That's what their bread and butter was all year. They go big, just a slip. They actually get a switch. Schaller lays the boom. All right. Maryland's actually not sure where 8's going, quite honestly, and that kind of puts him in a pickle. Okay, they probably just played inside, outside, whatever. Ball movement. Don't really have anything. Good defense for sure, but now here we are again. Because of the switch, so we had Schaller on Kirst, because Schaller thinks big, we can switch this, which is probably part of the scheme. Now Schaller's got long, and Schaller is not guarding Kirst, and that's a problem because we're going to can that. So again, another goal for Kirst where Schaller isn't guarding him. And that is about as good as it gets as far as a spot. Great move here by this Maryland midfielder. Gets 77 all turned around. Oh, baby. Good slide. Nusty probably wants that one back, but great move by the midfielder. Put one home for Maryland. Stop the bleeding a little bit, right? 9. Gets them all spun around, slide from the inside. Find it. All right, this was off of a failed clear. They get a quick restart off of a failed clear, and I want to mention this. Maryland, they cleared the ball 17 for 21 in this game, which is 80.9%. That is a significant difference from their season average, which was a 90.6. So nearly 10 points off of their percentage for the year. All right. On the day, and it led to a couple of goals, but this one hurt because you get back into it. 2 goals in the fourth quarter, you fail your 4th clear of the game, and it's coming right back down your throat. All right, and this is why I think Coach Tillman is arguably the best coach in the country. When he gets a week to prepare, watch out. And we've seen it, right? The couple of national championship games he's played in, you don't have the time to prepare from Saturday to Monday that he's used to and that the team's used to. And I don't know if that was part of it here or not, but certainly it's a fact. You give Coach Tills a week to prepare, forget about it. Two days, what is it, Saturday? 1 day, you get 1 day to prepare. Different story. Players have to make plays, okay? So 17 for 21 clearance certainly hurt the Terps this day, and this is one of those quick restarts off of a failed clear. Pick them apart. Goldstein. Lefty overhand, low corner, away on the lefty goalie. Cash. Again, off ball where we draw no slide. All right, you got Staub on Spanos. Off ball where we draw no slide. You can see it late right here. Just cut. Great timing. Okay, great look by Spanos. No slide, but still just cutting away from a short stick to get your... Oh, no, it's a long stick he cuts away from. It looks like he wanted 77 to hold sides with him here. But they don't. He gets his space, catch and finish. Off-ball play is more important than I think people understand it to be. Great spot, too. Hammer the nail in tight. Up pick. Okay, up pick. Here it comes again. Up pick with the short on Schaller. Job's probably supposed to chunk. Schaller goes over it again. Because he goes over it, gives up the scary area, the bow tie. All right, bang. But you got Logan McNaney, who just makes a ridiculous save. Unbelievable. And again, because he gets to the scary area, the only slide you can make is to his back. And I'm surprised this wasn't a push in the back. All right. But nonetheless, you give up this scary area and it's impossible to defend. Up pick, no chunk by 47. All right, now the only slide you can make is here, but even when you make this here, it's going to be a push in the back. One more time. Bang. All right, still got a 2-goal ball game in the fourth quarter with 9.5 left. Here we are again, Maryland in their pairs action. Short stick dodging. You got a long pull off of it. All right, no pick needed. This is still 2-man. You don't need a pick to play 2-man. We're just going to mirror it, all right, and put the slide guy in a tough spot to make a decision. He decides not to go. Scary area, score it. Unbelievable S dodge here by the Maryland midfielder. Understands he can get there, bang underneath. Only thing he can do is get pushed in the back, score it. I'm a huge believer in sliding to that thing, dealing with the rotations. It's the only thing he can do, draw the penalty, score it. Even if he doesn't score it there, he's got the flag down. Now you got a 1-goal ball game, 8.5 left. Here we are again. We got Erks on a short stick. In a pairs action, you're going to see Spanos ready to mirror here. Boom. And Nusty just makes an incredible save. All right, because Staub has to be ready to slide to Urksa as he goes underneath to the scary area. He has to get level with the ball. That's what the textbook says. Now we're going to have to rotate over. And even when we're rotating over, we're rotating to a righty's back. That's why righties, don't be scared to play in this lefty pair. You can put your stick to the outside and you got the world in a good spot. Nusty just steals one. All right. Guess who's guarding Kirst? Not Schaller. Trouble. Over pursue the top side because he's a left-handed player. Foot in the ground, inside roll, score it. And you get the flag, even if you don't. Again, letting people into the scary area, over pursue the top side, goal. Coach Tills rethinking the scheme a little bit. Kirst family fired up. But again, not Schaller. Cornell did a great job of understanding how they could get the matchups they wanted, as did Maryland with getting Staub off of Spanos. Here we are again, Goldstein taking it up the left side. You can see the adjacent slide ready to come, but it's too late. It's too late. Goldstein just takes this thing through contact, hammers this far post off hip. Unbelievable. And this is where he hits him with the Superman. I think Kirst family still fired up. Again, way too nice by 39. Make Goldstein feel you. Never makes Goldstein feel him with these little tap, nothing, never moves him. Goldstein's not a huge dude. 39 looks like a monster. Never makes him feel him. Goldstein gets to his spot, beats the adjacent slide, scores it. There's the Superman right here. Ha! Good strong dodge by that young fella. Drawing the hold, scoring it late in the game. Bang! Tries to throw the seatbelt, draws a slide, near post, Nusty screened. And then here comes the record tire. This is 82 right here for the Tewaaraton winner. And that seals the deal for the Cornell Big Red. Kirst family still fired up. Let's just watch history here. Bang. That'll do it, folks. Hell of a national championship game. Appreciate y'all sticking with me as I nerd out a little bit. Congratulations, Cornell Big Red. Slide into the DMs if you want to chat any more about X's and O's. I enjoy talking about this stuff. But best of luck, and everybody have a great summer.